بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين ثم أما بعد الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام والسنة. All praise and thanks belong to Allah for guiding us to Islam and for guiding us to the Sunnah. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has given us the opportunity to live to see another Ramadan. And this is a tremendous time, a tremendous occasion, and this is a great opportunity for us to gain good for ourselves. This blessed month of Ramadan, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن, the month of Ramadan in which the Qur'an it was revealed. هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان, a guidance for the people, and clear evidences, clear proofs and evidences for guidance. Naam. And a criterion by way in which we know the truth from the falsehood, that which is right from that which is wrong. From the benefits and the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He has bestowed upon the believers is that the Qur'an is a cure for diseases. Naam. And hence the title of today's reminder, Diseases of the Heart and Their Cure. Diseases of the Heart and Their Cure. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us in His noble book, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ الشِّفَاء وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And we have revealed from the Qur'an that which is a healing and a mercy for the believers. That which is a healing and a mercy for the believers. Allah Azza wa Jal, He says elsewhere in the Qur'an, هو الذي هو قل هو للذين آمنوا هدى وشفاء, and say, it is for those who believe a guidance and a healing. It is for those who believe a guidance and a healing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says elsewhere in the Qur'an, يا أيها الناس قد جاءتكم موعظة من ربكم. O human beings, O mankind, verily there has come to you an admonishment from your Lord. There has come to you a maw'idah, an admonishment from your Lord. قَدْ جَاءَتْكُمْ مَوْعِظَةٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَشِفَاءٌ. There has come to you an admonishment from your Lord for those who would take heed, and a healing, that which heals. It heals what? لِمَا فِي الصُّدُورِ. It heals that which is in the chest. A healing for that which is in the chest. وَهُدًى وَرَحْمَةٌ, a guidance and a mercy, لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ, for those who believe. It is incumbent that we know and that we understand the reality of this, that the Qur'an is a healing for that which is inside of the chest. The Qur'an is a healing for that which is housed inside of the breast. The Qur'an is a guidance and it is a mercy for the believers. It is incumbent and it is a must that in this Ramadan, as we are reading the Qur'an, that we read the Qur'an and our intention is not just to make a finish of the Qur'an, that we finish reading of the Qur'an, that our intention is not just a mere recitation of the Qur'an, but we have to be contemplating over the Qur'an, reflecting over the Qur'an. When you read the Qur'an and make it your intention that you're reading the Qur'an because you're looking for guidance. You want to be guided by your Lord Azza wa Jal. beg Allah and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide you. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you guidance and to show you what is correct and the right way. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to heal and to cure the sickness that is inside of the chest. To cure and to heal the sickness that is inside of the heart, which is housed inside of the breast. Make this your intention, bi'ithnillahi ta'ala. Imam Ibn al-Qayyim, so we can better understand the reality of the sicknesses of the heart. Imam Ibn al-Qayyim, he mentions, fi Zad al-Ma'ad, he mentions inside of Zad al-Ma'ad, al-marad naw'an, that sicknesses is of two types. That sicknesses, then it is of two types. Meaning the sicknesses of the heart, na'am, they are of two types. And likewise in general, sicknesses fall under two types. You have the sickness of the heart, marad al-qulub, the sickness of the heart. And you have the marad al-abdan, and the sickness of the body. Now, in this time that we're living, and we're dealing with the corona pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, and the like, there are many who give much concern and attention to the sickness of the body and the sicknesses of the body. And bila shak wa bila rayb, this warrants a great deal of attention, no doubt about it. No one is arguing that point or trying to state otherwise. Now, it requires great attention, undoubtedly. However, that which is also due great attention and merits great attention, rather, we can even say it merits even greater attention, and it merits even more attention, is those sicknesses and those ailments that afflict the heart. Now, those sicknesses and those ailments that afflict the heart. Now, as relates to sicknesses, then you will find that both of these sicknesses, they are mentioned inside of the Qur'an. Naam, that these sicknesses, al-madhkuran fil Qur'an, then they are mentioned inside of the Qur'an. And as relates to the heart and the sicknesses of the heart, and this is our concern of today's class, is dealing with the heart, or today's reminder, we should say, then that is dealing with the sicknesses of the heart. Al-marad al-qulub. Well, al-marad, the sickness that is attached to the heart, then also it is naw'an, is of two types. Naam, maradul qulub naw'an, the sicknesses of the heart, then they are two types. Marad shubha wa shak, the sickness of doubt, the sickness of doubt, and you can even say of desire, the sickness of doubt and of desire. And when we mean desire here, we mean from the standpoint of innovation, from having doubts about a person's religion, from not being firm and steadfast, and so on and so forth, that a person, they are plagued with these type of sicknesses. Naam. And then you have marad shahwa wal ghayb, and then the second type is the sickness of desires, meaning those cardinal desires, the sickness of those cardinal desires and of falsehood, those cardinal desires and of falsehood. Naam. Both of these sicknesses, bila shak wa bila rayb, wa kilahuma fil Qur'an, they're both mentioned inside of the Qur'an. The sickness of doubt, naam, the sickness of doubt and of bid'ah, naam, the sickness of doubt and the sickness that is connected, shubha, and from this type is bid'ah. Bid'ah is from this. Naam, they are both mentioned in the Qur'an. Now, as relates to a person having issues with their deen and having sicknesses in their heart, as relates to their religion, doubts as relates to the truthfulness of the deen, doubts as relates to the truthfulness of the Qur'an, doubts as relates to the truthfulness of the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallaahu, doubts as relates to the guidance that Allah Ta'ala has sent down, and that it is sufficient for mankind, as relates to this sickness, then undoubtedly the shaitan, he prefers this type of sickness, because this sickness, then it will ultimately destroy an individual. This sickness, it will ultimately destroy an individual. And even the other type of sickness, the sickness of desires, of cardinal desires and the like, at their climax and at the epitome of what they can reach, then likewise they could destroy an individual. However, the destructive nature of the sickness of doubt, that a person, they doubt as relates to Tawheed, that they doubt as relates to following the Sunnah, that they give an ear to the ways of polytheism, that they give an ear to the ways of innovation, and so on and so forth. This is a desired sickness that shaitan wants to get you with. This is the desired sickness. Now, and it is incumbent that we understand the avenues and the roads by way in which the shaitan, he attacks us. Because when we know these roads, we know these avenues, then we could better prepare a defense. We can be on guard from the likes of the onslaught that will come from this standpoint. Now, so we have to know that the shaitan, he's going to try to make us doubt our deen. He's going to try to make us doubt our religion. He's going to try to make us doubt our way. He's going to try to convince us that the way of the kuffar is superior. He's going to try to convince us that the religions of the kuffar, then they are superior. He's going to try to convince us that the way of other than Muhammad Sallallaahu alaihi wasallam, it is superior. He's going to try to convince us of this, that we can leave alone the Sunnah because there is a better path, there is a better way. But as we know, there is no better way, there is no better path. As we know, the best speech is the Book of Allah. Naam. And the best guidance is the guidance of Muhammad Sallallaahu alaihi wasallam. And the worst of all affairs are newly invented matters, because every newly invented matter is a bid'ah. Every bid'ah is a going astray. Every going astray is in the hellfire. This is well known as we hear it constantly over and over and over again in khutbah al-hajah. Na'am, فَإِنَّ خَيْرُ الْكَلَامِ كَلَامُ اللَّهِ وَأَحْسَنُ الْهَدْيِ هَدْيِ مُحَمَّدٍ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ وَشَرُّ الْأُمُورِ مُحْدَثَاتُهَا وَكُلَّ مُحْدَثَةٍ بِدْعَةٍ وَكُلَّ بِدْعَةٍ ضَلَالَةٍ وَكُلَّ ضَلَالَةٍ فِي النَّارِ. We hear this all the time. Na'am, and this is the reality, this is the haqq. However, the shaitan will try to come and convince us of other than that, so that we have doubts about our religion. And this is incumbent, and it is a must that we know this strategy of shaitan, so that we not only safeguard ourselves as relates to becoming victims of this, but also that we safeguard our children. Because the shaitan is not just, he doesn't just come to the adults and whisper these things to the adults, but rather the shaitan, he plants these seeds inside of the children. He tries to plant these seeds of doubt inside of the children, these seeds of hypocrisy. He tries to plant them inside of the children because he knows that if they were to sprout in the heart of that particular slave, then it will cause their destruction. Now, the likes of these things, more dangerous than coronavirus. More dangerous than corona. Bila shak wala raib. The likes of these things, they're more dangerous than any type of corona. Now, whether it's swine flu or whether it's SARS or Ebola or whatever the case may be, way worse than all of that. Worse than cancer, worse than AIDS, worse than to the end of what you can possibly list from the diseases that plague the body. Now, the diseases of the heart, in this one in particular, to bring doubt, to plant the seed of hypocrisy, the seed of kufr inside of the heart, the seed of shirk inside of the heart, is more dangerous than any physical disease. Now, because the physical disease will result in your death. But you know what? You're going to die anyway. Now, if it's not from this, then it's from that. You're going to die anyway. And that's the worst that any physical disease can bring to you, is your death. However, this disease of doubt, this disease of doubt that makes you doubt your religion, this disease of doubt that makes you doubt the Qur'an, this disease of doubt that makes you doubt the Sunnah, this disease of doubt that makes you doubt the prophethood of Muhammad Sallallaahu alaihi wasallam, makes you doubt the way of the messengers alayhimus salatu wassalam. This disease, it will destroy you with a destruction that will land you in the hellfire. Now, that should never be an option for anyone who is of sound mind. Naam, the hellfire is never an option. Never. Ala kulli hal. This type of disease of the heart, when it comes from the standpoint of having doubt about the religion and so on and so forth, Allah Ta'ala, He mentions it in the Qur'an. Allah Ta'ala, He says, في قلوبهم مرض فزادهم الله مرضا, and in their hearts there is a disease. This here disease of doubt here, na'am, in particular, as it comes in this ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah, this is the disease of nifaq. This is the disease of hypocrisy. Na'am, what is hypocrisy? Hypocrisy is that an individual acts like they are Muslim. They act as if they are Muslim. Na'am. However, in their heart, they do not believe in Islam. They go through the motions, na'am, but in their hearts, they do not believe in Islam. In their hearts, they don't believe that Islam is the truth. In their hearts, they don't believe in the hereafter. They don't believe that they will be judged. They don't believe in the day of judgment. They don't believe that there is an akhirah. They don't believe there is a hell. They don't believe there is a heaven, so on and so forth. But they act like they're Muslims. So they may pray as the Muslims pray. They may fast, or they fast, we should say, not may, but they fast as the Muslims fast. They pray as the Muslims pray. They make hajj, they make umrah, they give sadaqah, so on and so forth. But the whole time, they don't believe that Islam is the truth. They don't believe in that which Allah Ta'ala has revealed. This is hypocrisy. These individuals, they put the disease of hypocrisy inside of their hearts. And because they put it inside of their hearts, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He pays them in measure for what they have done. Al-jaza min jinsil amal. So because this is what they have done, then Allah Ta'ala, He suits the punishment to the crime. They put the disease of hypocrisy in their hearts. So Allah Ta'ala, He increases that disease of hypocrisy in which they put inside of their hearts. Now, this is appropriate for the crime in which they have committed. Ala kulli hal, this is from the first type of diseases of the heart. The disease of shubha, the disease of shak, that one doubts the religion, the disease of doubt, about the truthfulness of the deen of al-Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَلِيَقُولَ الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ, and they say those who is in their hearts a disease. وَلِيَقُولَ الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ وَالْكَافِرُونَ, and those who they have their heart in their heart a disease, and those who are disbelievers, so as such that they will say, مَاذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِهَذَا مَثَلًا, what does Allah intend by this similitude? Now, what does Allah intend by this similitude? So here in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions that the individuals who have this type of disease in their heart, this disease of nifaq, this disease of hypocrisy, this disease of kufr, this disease of shirk, so on and so forth, then when it comes to certain parables, when it comes to certain things from the Qur'an, it is not going to be a healing for them. It is not going to be a source of guidance for them. No. These individuals, because they have taken to kufr, because they have put kufr in their hearts, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blinds them to the truth. Summun bukmun umyun. Naam, those who are deaf, dumb and blind. Those who are deaf, dumb and blind, they will not speak the truth. They cannot hear the truth. They cannot see the truth. Naam, this is the reality. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, going back to one of the aforementioned ayat, Allah Ta'ala, He says, نُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ, that we have sent down from the Qur'an, مَا هُوَ شِفَاء, that which is a healing, وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ, it is a healing, it is a mercy for the believers, وَلَا يَزِيدُ الظَّالِمِينَ إِلَّا خَسَارًا, and those criminals, those kuffar, those disbelievers, those who have hypocrisy inside of their hearts, they will not be increased in anything except for misguidance. They will not be increased in anything, except for loss. They will only be increased in loss. They will only be increased in loss. So there's nothing for them except for increasing their loss. Why? Because they have invited into their hearts a disease of hypocrisy. Because they have invited into their hearts the disease of kufr. Because this is what they prefer. So thus they will not be guided by the Qur'an. It's not a guidance for them, not a mercy for them, not a healing for them. Because they have chosen the disease. They have turned away from the cure. So because they have turned to the disease, then they are increased in misery, they are increased in misguidance, they are increased in loss. Naam. Ala kulli hal. Ala kulli hal. So therefore, those who have this disease in their hearts, those who have the disease of kufr, the kuffar, naam, then they will say, what does Allah intend by this parable? They don't know, they don't understand. Naam, because they are blinded. Because they are blinded because of the filth in which they have entered into their hearts. So it is incumbent that we are on our guard as relates to this type of disease, because it's a disease that it is, to say that it is deadly is really an understatement. To say that it is a terminal disease really is an understatement. This is beyond what could be considered deadly, beyond what is considered terminal, because the end result of it is not death, it's the hellfire. The end result of it is not death, it is the hellfire, wherein there is no death, but at the same time, there is nothing that you can really call life. Now, I'm meaning from the quality of life, there's only misery, there's only suffering, there's only misery and suffering and the like that awaits those who have turned their backs, those who have turned away from what Allah has revealed. وقال Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah ta'ala, He says, as relates to those, يعني في حق من دعي إلى تحكيم القرآن, those who have been called to live by and implement the rules and the regulations of the Qur'an, was Sunnah, and of the Sunnah, to implement that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed. Those who are called to embrace, they are called to rule by, they are called to live their lives in accordance to that which Allah ta'ala has revealed in the Qur'an and in the Sunnah of His Messenger Sallallaahu alayhi wasallam. But these individuals, do they accept the guidance? Do they embrace the guidance? No. فَأَبَى وَأَعْرَضَ. They turn away from the guidance and they refuse it. They refuse it and they turn away from it. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, as relates to the likes of these individuals. Now, I pause because I want us to reflect and to think about this now. Any Muslim who knows what is the truth of Islam, any Muslim who they have read the Qur'an, they have heard the Qur'an being read, meaning understood it. So they have understood, even if it's the translation from their language. In their language, they have heard from the guidance of Islam, called to do what is right, but then decide they want to turn their backs, then decide that they want to choose another way, then decide they want to discard that which Allah Ta'ala has guided them to. This is very dangerous. I want you to listen up and pay very close attention. Those children who decide, no, I don't want to be a Muslim. I don't want to live my life by Islam. I don't want to have Islam govern my life, my statements, my actions, my how I believe, my outlook, so on and so forth. No. I want to go the way of my desires. I want to go the way of what I want to do, when I want to do, how I want to do it, because I don't really know if it's the truth anyway. Now, those suffering from this type of disease, I want you to listen to what Allah Ta'ala, He says, as relates to these individuals who are called to the truth, but then turn their backs on it, decide they don't want it, and they turn their backs on it. Allah Ta'ala, He says, وَإِذَا دُعُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ, and but when they are called to Allah and to His Messenger, نعم, لِيَحْكُمَ بَيْنَهُمْ, so as to guide them, نعم, to that which is correct, so as to guide them, نعم. When Allah Ta'ala, He calls them to implement the truth, لِيَحْكُمَ بَيْنَهُمْ, so they can be guided, utilize the truth as a guidance and a criterion for their lives. إِذَا فَرِيقٌ مِّنْهُمْ مُعْرِضُونَ, except that there is a party from amongst them who they turn away. They are called to implement Islam. They are called to be upon the guidance and to do what is correct. They are called to the truth, but then they turn away. نعم. وَإِنْ يَكُنْ لَهُمُ الْحَقُّ يَأْتُوا إِلَيْهِ مُذْعِنِينَ, but if the truth is with them, then they come to it willingly and with full submission. Now, how often is this the case? When a person feels that they have some proof and evidence, some hujjah for them in that in which they want to do anyway, then they have no problems utilizing the text against you. No problem utilizing the text against you. So when it's something that falls in accordance to what they desire, then they have no problem pointing out those texts and saying, "Oh, look, you're supposed to be like this," right? But yet, when it is for them now to do the change, when it's for them now to step in line, they turn away. So give you another example to phrase this another way. When it calls for them to do what is correct and to be checked, they turn away from it. But as an example, if they can use it to check somebody else, if they can use it to call you to govern yourself because you have stepped out of line, then they have no problems using it. Then they have no problems. Now they fully submit. Here's the verse. Yeah, subhanallah. But where are you from implementing the verse? Where are you from implementing the verse? Naam. And I want us all to really pay a close attention to this and to consider this extremely well, because we never want to fall into a case where we find ourselves like this. If the truth is for us, then we're fully for it. But if it is against us, then we turn our backs on it as if we don't know. Because this is the characteristic from the characteristic of the kuffar. This is the characteristic from the characteristic of the kuffar. This is how Banu Israel they were. This is how the children of Israel they were. That if it was in accordance to what they wanted, if it was in support of what they wanted at that particular time, then they fully were in agreement with it, fully supporting of it. But if it was against them, then they turned their backs on it as if they didn't know nothing about it. Now, this was the way of Banu Israel. The ulama, they mentioned, I want you to reflect upon this. When you go through the Qur'an, there is one story that is mentioned in the Qur'an more than every other story. There is one story, one group of people that are mentioned in the Qur'an, their story and things that are connected to them as a nation, more than anybody else in the Qur'an. Na'am. Likewise, and subsequently, their prophets, our prophets, more correctly, our prophets, na'am, who was sent to that nation, is mentioned in the Qur'an more than any other prophets in the Qur'an. Na'am. So a person may say, who is that? Who are these people and who is that prophet? The prophet that is mentioned in the Qur'an more than any other prophet in the Qur'an is Musa alayhi salatu wassalam. And the people that are mentioned in the Qur'an, the nation that is mentioned in the Qur'an and their story is mentioned in the Qur'an more than any other nation story, is that of the children of Israel. Naam, Banu Israel. The children of Israel, the Yahud, the Jews. Naam. And I want you to reflect. The ulama, they mentioned there is a reason for this. There is a reason that their story is mentioned more in the Qur'an than any other story. A reason that Musa alayhi salatu wassalam is mentioned in the Qur'an more than any other prophet. And what the ulama, they mention is that is because there are similarities, or there existed the possibility or a similarity between the nations, between the nation of the final messenger and the nation of this great messenger and prophet Musa alayhi salatu wassalam, meaning that as Muslims we have the tendency to fall into that which Banu Israel fell into. We have the tendency to fall into that which they have fallen into, that we are potentially subject to do what they have done. In fact, the Prophet ﷺ, he told us that not only are we subject to do what they have done, but that rather you will find that this nation will follow the previous nations of the Jews and the Christians, handspan by handspan, step by step, so much so if they entered into the religious whole, we will enter into it as well. So why are their characteristics mentioned in the Qur'an? Is it so that we can just say, oh, that's them, from the standpoint of just FYI, so you know? No, it is so that we are on guard, because we are susceptible of falling into that which they have fallen into. And the better we know the pitfall of the trap, then the better we can avoid it, the better we can stay away from it. Now, so I want you just to reflect and to think and to really ponder about that. That any characteristic that you find is a characteristic that the Banu Israel fell into, then know for surety that we are very close to them. We are very close to them. We are very close to them in the way that we are very close to them and the like. So what that which they have fallen into, we can fall into it as well. Okay? So I want you to understand this. Now, they were called to good. They used to call to good. Now, and they would refuse to call to good, and then they used to warn against evil that they fell into. Subhanallah. They warn against evil that they themselves were doing. They themselves have fallen into. Now, and the like. Playing around with the legislation. And so on and so forth. All of these characteristics that are particular to them, they know we are susceptible to falling into that as well. So be careful. Be very careful. Okay? So now let's go back to those who are called to rule. To those who are called to rule and to judge amongst themselves by what Allah has revealed. By the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallaahu Alaihi Wasallam. You see? And this is why I keep mentioning that from this standpoint, or from this aspect of sickness, also enters into it bid'ah. Now I keep mentioning that because bid'ah is from this type. It's from this type of sickness, this type of sickness of the heart. Bid'ah is from this type. Now, if you look at the ayah, when they are called to Allah and His Messenger, when they are called to Allah, what does that mean that they are called to Allah? They are called to rule by the Qur'an. Because where is the guidance of Allah contained therein? Is inside the Qur'an. Where is the speech of Allah? The Qur'an. The Qur'an is the speech of Allah. غير المخلوق. It's not created. Naam. But where is the guidance from the Prophet Sallallaahu Alaihi Wasallam? Meaning, where is the speech of the Prophet Sallallaahu Alaihi Wasallam inside the Sunnah? So how do we as a nation go back to Allah and go back to the Messenger as relates to issues that may arise between us, as relates to that which we would rule and judge ourselves by way of, by doing what? By going back to the Qur'an and going back to the Sunnah. Now, this is how we do it, okay? So I want you to understand that. So if a person turns away from the Qur'an, has doubt about the Qur'an, its validity, its how it is appropriate, its appropriateness in this time, in this era that we live in, and so on and so forth, then these are those who this ayat is talking about. Those who believe that there have come others who have a way better than the way of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Because listen, that is exactly what you are saying. If a person comes with innovation, they come with bid'ah, then they are saying that there's a way better than the way of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, or they are claiming that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he did not complete the message. He did not fully convey the message. So therefore, they have to fill in the gaps. And that's why they bring that in which the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he did not bring. You understand? So, let's go back. I digress. So those who, when they are called to Allah and His Messenger to rule in that which is between them, then you find a party of them turn away. You find a party of them turn away. Now, I don't want you to look at the next man. I don't want you to look at the next woman, to look at him and her, you know what I'm saying, and what they're doing or not doing. No, I want you to look at yourself. I want you to look at yourself. You understand? Because how easy is it for us to point the finger at someone else, and then we fail to see that us ourselves, what we are saying is applicable to even us first and foremost. You understand? I'll give you an example of this. Before getting back to these verses, I'll give you an example of this. There is a story that happened during the time of the life of Shaykh Albani, rahimahullah ta'ala, al-Allama, Imam al-Albani. Naam. He attended a khutbah in one of the masajid in Sham, and there was a man who got on the minbar, and his khutbah was against the rulers and about ruling by the book of Allah, ruling by the Sharia, and pointing blame at the rulers and saying how they're not doing this, they're not doing that, they're not ruling by the book of Allah, and so on and so forth. Naam. And how you have to rule by the book of Allah, you have to rule by the Sharia, you have to rule by the Sunnah, and so on and so forth. Naam. Putting all the blame on the rulers, as if he himself were free and innocent. Ala kulli hal. After the khutbah, Al-Allama Imam al-Albani, rahimahullah ta'ala, he approached the man. And he told the man, what you said as relates to it being obligatory to rule by what Allah has revealed. He said, then this is correct. We have to rule by what Allah has revealed. We have to live our lives in accordance to the Sunnah. We have to live our lives according to the Qur'an, as understood by the Salaf of this Ummah. Naam, that was correct. The Shaykh, he said, however, do you know that you were blaming the rulers for not ruling and judging by the book of Allah? He said, whereas you yourself, but at the same time, you yourself, you as an individual, you do not rule by the book of Allah. You do not rule by what Allah has revealed. So the man, he became amazed. How? What do you mean? What do you mean how? How could you say that? So Al-Allama Imam Al-Albani, he said, look at you. He said, you have shaven your beard. This is not in accordance to what Allah has revealed, because the Muslim man is supposed to grow his beard and to leave it. Naam. He said, look at you. You are wearing the clothes of the kuffar, afranji, meaning the Westerners. You have suit and tie and, this type of stuff. This is from their clothes, not from our clothes. Ala kulli hal, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Man tashabbaha biqawmin fahuwa minhum. Whoever imitates a people, then he is from them. So we are called to be different and distinct from the kuffar. We are called to be different and distinct from the kuffar, even in our dress, and especially with dress that is particular unto them, especially with dress that they are identified by. It is their hallmark. When it comes to these type of suit and tie and three-piece suit and so on and so forth, could a person say this is from the clothes of the Muslims? This is what the Muslims traditionally wear? No, not at all. But who are the originators of this type and style of dress? It is the kuffar. Now, it is the disbelieving West. They are the ones who wear these type of clothes. These are not clothes that are known to the Muslims. Now, these were not clothes that were known to the Muslims. Whether they were the Muslims in Arabia, they were Arab Muslims, or the Muslims in Africa, or they were the Muslims in Indonesia, in Malaysia, in the Far East, in China, so on and so forth. These style of dress, this suit and tie, that was not known to any of the Muslims anywhere. This is stuff the Muslims later on learned from the kuffar. Ala kulli hal. So he checked the man on this point. That you're not even dressed properly. You're not even dressed according to the legislation. But then when you get into the characteristics of that dress outside of just the shape of it and who originated that shape and that style, but of the dress itself and the description of it, the pants are too tight, the shirt is tucked in, it's not covering the aura, so on and so forth. It's problematic. You understand? It doesn't even fit the requirements of the covering and what should be covered and how it should be covered in Islam. It doesn't fit it. So no matter how you look at it, you're not ruling by the book of Allah as it relates to your outfit right now. Not ruling by the book of Allah as it relates to your face right now with the hairs on your chinny chin because you done cut them off. So you're going to blame the ruler for not ruling by the book of Allah when you yourself are not ruling by the book of Allah. You understand? So I'm saying that to say this is that when it comes to stuff like this, I don't want you to look outside and say, oh, look, that's them, or look at what she's doing, or what he's doing, or like this. No, I want you to look at yourself. I want you to pay some attention to yourself and to see, do you fit the bill? Because if so, if the kufi fit, it's a dirty kufi and it fit, you need to change it. You need to change it. Take it off, change it, put on something else, something clean. You know what I mean? Get yourself together. Ala kulli hal, in any event, the Prophet ﷺ, he warned us from imitating them and told us that whoever imitates them is from them. That within itself should be enough to scare you to death. So therefore, being like them, imitating them in any which way, shape, and form of that which is particular to them should never be an option. It's never an option. Ala kulli hal, let's get back to this now. We want to see, how do we stand as relates to, we're called to rule by what Allah has revealed, what the Messenger ﷺ has taught us, to rule by the book and the Sunnah. These people, when they're called to do it, they don't. They turn away from it. But if it's something in their favor, they rush to it. Allah Ta'ala, He says, أَفِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ. Do they have a sickness in their heart? Because when you do this, these are signs, these are indications These are symptoms of a sickness. Now, you understand how every sickness has symptoms? Okay? Not living in accordance to what is correct, but rather turning your back. Now, I'm not saying that a person make a sin, a person makes a mistake. We all make mistakes. We all make sins. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a person willingly, preemptively, premeditatively, just straight doing what is wrong and taking it as his way. I know Islam say I should be like this, but I don't even care. I know this what Allah say, I don't care. I know this what the Prophet ﷺ said, I don't care. I know this is what we should, I don't care. I'm gonna do me, I'm gonna do what I want to do. That type of attitude, I don't care attitude, can't nobody tell me nothing type of attitude, so on and so forth. The truth comes, you turn away from it, you don't care about it. This is a sign of a sickness. This is a symptom. It's a symptom of a disease. You understand? But Allah Ta'ala, He says, أَفِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ. Do they have a sickness in their heart? What type of sickness? The sickness of shubha, the sickness of shak, the sickness of doubt. That person doubts their deen. They doubt their religion. Now, Allah Ta'ala, He says, أَمِرْتَابُوا. Are they apprehensive? They have in their heart a sickness, or they're apprehensive, they're acting apprehensively. Naam. يَخَافُونَ. Are they scared? Or are they scared? And يَحِيفَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ وَرَسُولُهُ. Do they have a sickness in their heart? Are they apprehensive? Or do they think that Allah and His Messenger is going to wrong them? Do they think that Allah and His Messenger is going to wrong them, is going to give them a wrong judgment? Is this the case? Naam. Allah Ta'ala, He says, Bal ulaika humul zalimun. He says, rather, these ones, they are the wrongdoers. These ones, they in fact, and indeed, they are the wrongdoers. They are the criminals. They are the real criminals. So what are the symptoms and the signs of this level of criminality? Is what? It's not ruling by the book of Allah. It's not ruling by the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallaahu Alaihi Wasallam, but it's turning your back on it. Only embracing it when you can use it in your favor. This is a sign that there is a disease inside of the heart, the disease of doubt, the marad al-shubha wa shak, the disease of doubt and disease of doubt, basically. Shubha, shak, we translate them both as doubt. The second type of disease is the disease of shahwa, the disease of shahwa. Now I want you to understand this. O you upon the Sunnah, O you Sunni, O you Salafy, O you Athari, all of you out there who say you're from Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, this is just to you right now. Others as well, they can benefit from it, but right now I'm talking to you. Those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided to the Sunnah. Because understand, Shaitan, he want to get you with one of these two sicknesses. That's the reality. He wants you to get one of these two sicknesses in your heart. Now, his first option, the best option for him, the most effective way of destroying you, is to infect you with the sickness of doubt, shubha. This is the best way he wants. But if he can't do it, if he can't get you to doubt Allah, if he can't get you to doubt the Prophet Sallallaahu Alaihi Wasallam, if he cannot get you to turn your back on the Qur'an and the Sunnah, if he cannot get you to put hypocrisy in your heart and have these traits and aspects of hypocrisy and so on and so forth, the disease of nifaq, if he can't get your heart sick with that, then his next resort is what? Is shahwa. So I want you to reflect on this, because a person they may come and they say, and this is real life, they'll say, but the people of innovation, you find they are the most nicest of the people. They are the most kindest of the people. The people of innovation, they don't fall into the despicable vices that the people of the Sunnah fall into. And this is a lie and it's exaggeration, because the reality of it is that everybody fall into those type of things. But they make it seem like, okay, for argument's sake, they make it seem like, oh, the people, you don't find the people of innovation doing these type of filthy things that you hear about some of the Muslims doing, right? And you know the areas in which is predominant people on the Sunnah, and they doing a bunch of foul stuff. Foul stuff. Niqab in the daytime, stripper in the nighttime. You understand? You know, homosexuals, so on and so forth, in the closet. All this type of stuff. We know the areas in which this stuff takes place, and we don't want to speak on it because I don't want to make it seem like I'm condemning or speaking bad about a particular area or region. Because the point is not about that, but the point is about the behavior. About the behavior. Individuals who apparently look so righteous, but then they are from the most foul and corrupt of the people. From the most foul and corrupt, the most lyingest of the people, the most treacherous of the people, the most rude and nasty of the people, the one most given to all type of sin and transgression, all type of filthy, illicit and disgusting sexual crimes and so on and so forth. They all gun ho for it. Why? Why is that? Why do you find the onslaught of the people of the Sunnah is from the standpoint of vain desires, from lowly desires? Why is that? Why is that? Why do you find that the onslaught of the people of innovation is not necessarily from the standpoint of vain desires? Why is that? The answer is obvious. Because the people of innovation, they have been afflicted with the sickness of doubt. They have been afflicted with the sickness of shahwa. So because they got the sickness of shahwa, Shaitan doesn't put a lot of energy in trying to get them sick and infect them with the sickness of shahwa, of desires. Because they already got the greater of the two sicknesses. They already got the greater two sicknesses. So then the most efficient course of action to destroy them is to increase them into the sickness of doubt. To increase them in believing that you can pray to a dead saint inside the grave, and that's going to get you close to Allah, and that's what Allah loves and is pleased with. He's going to increase them in that. You understand? Now the people of the Sunnah, do they have these type of doubts about their deen? Are they going to pray to somebody dead in the grave? No. Are they going to make bid'ah and do things that the Prophet ﷺ, he obviously did not come with? No. Are they going to be subject to being Sufi or Mu'tazili or Ash'ari or Khariji, Maturidi, to the end of it, from the Ikhwan Muslimin? Are they going to be subjected to the likes of these things? Then, generally speaking, the answer is no. So therefore, what's the next avenue of shaitan? If he can't get a person from this way, so what's his next course of action? What's his next avenue? Is from desires. So this is why the people of the Sunnah, and I'm talking to you in particular, you have to be on your guard as relates to desires, as relates to the sickness of desires, because it will enter into your heart, this sickness of desires, and if left unchecked, it will destroy you. If left unchecked, it will destroy you. So you have to be very careful. You have to be on your guard, because the shaitan, he's not going to come to you from that direction, but he's going to come to you from this direction. If a person was in front of you, for lack of a better term, if a person was in front of you as a boxer, those who know boxing, you may understand a little better, and they were a southpaw. That means that they strike heavy with their right hand. Now, you're going to be more on guard for what he throws from his right hand. Although you're on your guard from his left hand, because he can still hit you with the left hand, you're going to be more on guard from what? From the right hand. You're going to watch what's coming off his right hand. Now, so I want you to take that analogy and to utilize it here. If you know that the shaitan, his greatest attack against you is not going to be from the standpoint of doubts, but it's going to be from the standpoint of desires, then you have to put your attention on him hitting you with that fist of desire. Okay? That makes sense? Inshallah? So be on your guard, because the disease of desire is a disease that is destructive indeed. Allah Ta'ala, He mentions this disease inside the Qur'an. Allah Ta'ala, He says, Ya nisa al-nabi, O wives of the Prophet, O wives of the Prophet, lastunna ka'ahadin min an-nisa, you are not like any other women. O wives of the Prophet, you are not like any other women. Naam. And sisters, I want you to pay very close attention, to what is mentioned here in this verse, and go back to the whole of the verse, inshallah ta'ala, as it's found in Surah Al-Ahzab, and it's verse 32. Because our mothers, then they are examples for the Muslim women. Our mothers are example for the Muslim women, not these actresses and these singers and these entertainers and these YouTube personalities and the like. No. Our mothers, they are examples for the believing women. Allah Ta'ala, He says, "And ittaqaytun, if you keep your duty, now, if you fear Allah, you have taqwa, you keep your duty, you do what you're supposed to be doing, you act in a manner that is appropriate, you act in a manner that is right, that is correct, that is in line with that which Allah loves and that which Allah is pleased with." Now, if you want to do what is right, if you want to keep your duty, Allah Ta'ala, He says, فَلَا تَخْضَعْنَا بِالْقَوْلِ, then do not be soft-spoken. Do not be soft-spoken when speaking, meaning to what? To the opposite sex. Do not be soft-spoken when speaking to men. Now, the ulama, they explain what enters into the meaning of being soft-spoken is speaking, and not just a pleasant and a beautifying your voice. Now, not just that you beautify your voice, but you speak in such a way of submissiveness and of which it is understood basically that I can do whatever I want to do with her. Okay, he's given me signs and indications that she's going to let me do what I want to do with her. Okay, you don't speak in that manner. In other words, the way that you talk to your husband or the way you should be speaking to your husband, this is not the way you should speak to any man off the street. You should not speak to any man on the street on the way you should be talking to your husband, with that sweet voice and a manner that shows that I'm willing and ready to be compliant to what you want me to do. Now, don't talk to no men like that. And men, don't allow no women to talk to you like that. I don't care who she is. Don't allow no woman to talk to you like that. Fear Allah. Ala kulli hal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He explains why. Allah ta'ala, He says, فَيَطْمَعَ الَّذِي فِي قَلْبِهِ مَرَضًا. He said, because it will spark, it will propagate the one who has a sickness inside of his heart. For the one who has a sickness inside of his heart, it will get him going. Now, maybe he wasn't even thinking like that. But because he has this sickness of desire inside of his heart, as soon as he hears a woman talking to him like that, oh, word. Okay. Maybe he wasn't thinking like that before. But now, why? Because this man, at the slightest provocation, whether real or imagined, he's going to try to fulfill his lowly, vain desire. You understand? So this is why the woman is not to talk like that to any man, because she may put that upon a man who has a disease in his heart, the disease of desire inside of his heart, and now he's going to try to fulfill the perceived invitation. That makes sense? Ala kulli hal. The disease of desire, then it is known, those type of vices, those type of giving in to the cardinal lusts and desires, being just engrossed and enveloped in sin and transgression and so on and so forth. This is a disease. This is a disease, and it has to be cured. But whether you have in your heart this or that, or a little this and a little that, know for a surety that the cure is the Qur'an. The cure is the Qur'an. It is a cure for the diseases of the heart. It is a cure for that which is in the chest. And the ulama, they explain, Shaykh Sulaiman al-Ruhaili, Hafidhullah Ta'ala, he mentions that from the greatest ways at the greatest means of cleaning the heart and bringing a cure from the heart. And if I remember correctly, he was quoting from Shaykh Uthaymeen and mentioning what Shaykh Uthaymeen, rahimahullah ta'ala, he had mentioned this point, is that from the greatest means of healing the heart and of cleaning the heart and healing the heart from the sickness, then it is to read the Qur'an with reflection, to reflect over the Qur'an, to contemplate and to ponder, to contemplate and to ponder. Now those who they are not fluent in Arabic to the extent that they could read the Qur'an in Arabic and ponder and contemplate and achieve this objective, my advice to you is add to your reading of the Qur'an in Arabic, add to it reading of the Qur'an, or reading the translation in your language. Now, read the translation in your language. Okay? Those who they are not able to read Arabic because they have yet to learn, then I still encourage you, read the translation of the Qur'an in your language and contemplate, reflect, ponder, because this is from the greatest means of cleaning the heart. This is from the greatest medicine for the diseases of the heart. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala an yanfa'ani, to benefit me, wa iyyakum, and also you as well, and yanfa'na bima sami'na, that he benefits us from that which we have heard, wa an yaj'alahu hujjatan lana wa la alayna, and that he makes us a proof for us and not against us, wa an yaj'alana mimman idha u'tiya shakar wa dhubtuliya sabr wa idha athnaba astaghfar fa inna ha'ula'i thalath unwanu as-sa'ada. ربنا زدنا علما, O Allah, increase us all in knowledge, wa give us the success, wa an yuwaffiqna bima yuhibbuhu wa yarda, and may he give us the success in doing that in which he loves and that which he is pleased with. أكتفي بهذا القدر وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين إلا اللقاء. Until next time we meet. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.